Hi everyone, Dr. Urban here, and let's talk about a subject that covers a lot of people. We're going to be talking about pre-diabetes with the question, do you have pre-diabetes? Or looking at it another way, can we come at this from, does pre-diabetes have symptoms? Are there pre-diabetes symptoms? And what about insulin resistance diet or a pre-diabetes diet? So we're going to try to cover that in this video. First of all, are you someone who, when their eyes are open, in other words, when they're awake, your mouth is open, you're eating constantly? Well, maybe that's just you, but that is just you, and that's a problem. Because let's look at what happens when you eat, and I have this handy visual aid. And I want to say that this is a 12-hour period along the bottom of the hanger, this line. And when you eat food, you start over here, the body goes through a series of hormonal adjustments, and then after about 4 hours, that's done, and their body has processed that load using insulin, even if insulin resistance is present. So then after, well, your body, let's say your body needs, this I'm talking about now, what typically happens, but not in the pre-diabetic, usually. What happens next when the body needs energy, it goes to the glycogen stores, and it uses those glycogen stores, which can last maybe 12 hours. There's some variability in all this, depending on the individual. Along the way, your body may elect to use a little bit of protein, turning the protein into sugar. So as you get out here, you're at 12 hours, but at 12 hours, now you see the blue here. The blue is you're starting to mobilize ketones. So what happens when you, after 4 hours, snack? Okay? You don't continue, you go back here and start over. So when you snack, you go like this. And it's very hard to get into this. You start putting the excess through insulin resistance and fat stores. You put the excess into your fat and you become, along with insulin resistance, you become overweight. It may be deposited the fat in your belly, or it may be deposited the fat universally throughout your body, but you get the picture. So if you're trying to intervene in this process, you need to consider if ketones, you want to get to ketones, you need to get out here about 12 hours. So let's talk about the ketogenic or keto diet. How do we start? Well, first of all, believe it or not, a way to go, and this isn't the all-in at first, but this is how to kind of segue into a keto diet for prediabetes. Because prediabetes, so first of all, I should mention that prediabetes can be objectively measured by blood tests. There's the 5 and 5, 100 deciliters of glucose to 125 is prediabetes, and there's a similar for the hemoglobin A1C 5.7 to 6.4. But those are objective numbers. Symptoms of diabetes, we haven't thought about that because we haven't looked at it really with a critical eye. But there are symptoms of diabetes, and they are things like lethargy, irritation, lightheadedness, fatigue, anger. But the big one is at about 4 hours, remember what we did here, at about 4 hours, you have food cravings. So if you're sitting there going, well, you know, I have frequent food craving and I'm snacking and I'm browsing, and when my eyes are open, my mouth is open, I suggest that it's highly likely you're pre-diabetic. Now, you can say, well, I can get that tested. Yes, you can. But you can see you don't need to spend bucks on this right now to know that you're at risk or that you're continuing at risk. I would advise getting a test whenever you have blood work. Make sure your hemoglobin A1C and your fasting blood sugar are tested. But I'm telling you that if you're just standing there and telling me that you have food cravings about 4 hours after a meal and that you snack, and there are implications for before going to bed and that sort of thing. This keeps going, and you're browsing and grousing and grazing over food all day long. Then I think this 4-hour hunger, severe hunger, and the symptoms of prediabetes relate to you, and you have an issue. Now we know that people with prediabetes have a 10-year, 50% chance of becoming diabetic. Well, I think that's a heavy stroke. Doesn't say what happens after 10 years, but that means you have a 50% chance. So it's worthwhile looking into this to see if you have prediabetes and do something about it. So what do? I recommend the keto diet, which you can jump into, or you can go you can segue into it, and I think a lot of people would like segue. I jumped into it and did fine, but there is such a thing as the keto flu, where you go in all in so hard, so fast, that you have symptoms really of absence of low blood sugar and insulin resistance, which I just mentioned. The ones that are suggestive during the day become a response to your keto efforts. So if that's a problem for you, what do? Well, several things you can do to get you started. Number one, you need to get your food out to 12 hours. Eat whenever you eat, then you go 12 hours. But before that, consider drinking water in the morning. Let's say 16 to 32 ounces of water. Why? Because you're dehydrated during the night, either from urination and or respiration, where you put out a liquid in your respirations. So water, 16 to 32 ounces. Then you see when you're hungry. In the morning, you try to spread that out, because you may find out that you don't have a craving right away, and you start spreading that time period out, aiming for 12. And when you hit 12 hours between meals, then you try to ratchet it up. But that should get you started. It should well avoid the keto flu, and it may segue into a solution along with the keto diet, which is where you're headed, and there's all kinds of directions for that once you're fully into it. But let's get you started.